President Trump is now in the Situation Room for a meeting with his top advisors about what he should do, given Israel appears to be requesting that we use our bunker-breaking bombs that will go deep underground to wipe out the ability of Iran to have nuclear weapons. They are making those nuclear weapons many different parts of the country, but in particular inside of and underneath a large mountain in Iran that they believe is unreachable by traditional weaponry, and they are correct. And Israel reportedly has been unable to get to the heart of that area. So there is reportedly a Situation Room meeting going on right now surrounding that. We are taking your calls and your reactions to this. This is 10 years ago. I read a tweet from J.D. Vance, vice president. And by the way, you just heard Senator Ted Cruz of Texas at the end of the last hour laying out what he believes should be done. Senator Rand Paul is going to be with us at the top of the third hour. We'll see what the latest news is there and ask his opinion on this and certainly the big, beautiful bill as well. And then at the bottom of the third hour, so about an hour and 20 minutes from now, we'll be joined by FCC Chairman Brendan Carr. But I wanted to play this for you. This is 10 years ago. This week, on the very first day he announced he was running, President Trump said, I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons. For 10 years, he has consistently said that. I want to play it for you now. Here is President Trump a decade ago.
I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons, and we won't be using a man like Secretary Kerry that has absolutely no concept of negotiation, who's making a horrible and laughable deal, who's just being tapped along as they make weapons right now.
That is Trump a decade ago. So Trump has been consistent, as J.D. Vance laid out, for a decade in saying he will not allow Iran to get nuclear weapons. Now, I said in the first hour that I believe if Israel is requesting our use of the big bunker bomb to take out once and for all Iran's ability to create a nuclear weapon, that I think we should give it. That's point one. Point two, and I may be going a bit further than other people that you're hearing, I think we should take the Ayatollah out. And those are difficult decisions. And some people out there, it's not going to shock you, don't agree with me. And if you do agree with me, you can weigh in too. 800-282-2882. I believe we have a caller. Mike is an Iranian American. Is he still there, guys? Came here in 1969. Wanted to tell us his perspective on what is going on there. Do we have him still? Okay, Mike.
Yes.
Yes, Mike, thank you for calling in. What should we know about Iran? You left in 1969. What do you think the people of Iran are thinking right now? What do you think America should do?
I hope I don't get too nervous because there are 40 years of statements I want to talk to with my American compatriots. But on the lighter note, first, I wish you good luck, Clay, on your upcoming basketball challenge. If you lose, you set back a lot of our agenda.
I did not expect a discussion of Iranian nuclear capabilities to begin with. Look, here's the reality. I would wreck Angel Reese, and I think she's afraid of playing me, and I put $100,000.
Outside shot.
She has no outside shot. If I can hit a backboard from the 3-point line, I got a better outside shot than she does. All right, that's really funny. Okay, so you left Iran 1969. As you analyze this situation,
going back and forth. I was a student when I came to U.S. first.
Okay,
but I want you. First of all, I fully agree with the statements you made here today, along with Senator. The Ayatollahs must go. But what I want you to understand is, first of all, God bless Russia's soul. I wish he was here to see these days, because he was one of the first to see the woke agenda that was brewing in Europe and was getting the leftist agenda that was fighting the American soul and in many ways succeeded in taking over Europe, that same group or way of thinking, leftist way of thinking, that toppled the Shah in Iran, were almost succeeded on taking over America. I'm just so happy I voted for Donald Trump 3 times. What I want you to understand is, the American compatriots to understand, is that the media has succeeded in making you think that Iranians are a bunch of religious freaks that go along with religious teachings. In fact, Iranians are less religious than any community I know in the West. We are to a point that I'm afraid, same place that America is, I'm afraid that Iranians are going to lose belief in the Almighty just because of the bad religion teachings of the mullahs. The Iranian, we don't need any boots in the ground, but but this government has to go. Unfortunately, a lot of burden of this government falls into the shoulders of Mr. Biden, who was at the time Carter's chief of staff, was it, or something like that, national security head. He, along with certain leftists in Europe, engineered this government being in Iran. So even for the sake of karma, please help remove these son of a. I don't want to get.
Yeah, no, I appreciate. Thank you for the call. By the way, this is a really good idea. I would imagine that there are a lot of people that are born in Iran that are listening to us right now, just like this caller. I actually reached out. I've got, as many of you do, friends with who are Iranian. I reached out to a couple of my friends just to ask them, hey, you still have family there. You have closer connections to the country. What should I know? I would like for you guys, if you are listening right now, let me just do this. Iranian listeners, born in Iran, family in Iran, what should we know based on your conversations with family members about what would happen? Because I think most of you agree with me when it comes to using the big bunker bomb and taking out nuclear Iran, right? I think most of you, based on the reaction, are going to agree with that. I think the Ayatollahs being removed is more challenging because we don't know necessarily what the next regime would be. Now, I would submit to you, it's unlikely the next regime is going to be worse than people chanting death to America and trying to destroy Israel and trying to destroy America to the best of their ability. I think that's unlikely. If we could have the royal family back in, that was a much more modern version of Iran. I think a lot of people would support that. But what would actually happen, and what is the overall vibe of the Iranians? Remember, team researched this for me, I believe it was 2019 when it appeared that the Iranian people might be close to overthrowing their leadership, when we had the so-called Arab Spring, and there were a lot of protests that were emerging all over the Middle East. Iran was one of the places with the most substantial protest, but the Ayatollahs eventually managed to push that down, and the people who were protesting did not rise to power. I think that was 2019. Again, I may be wrong if the team will look up exactly what year that was, but we know that there has been an underground disdain for the Ayatollah and his leadership for a long time. There isn't a lot of activity in the streets of Iran right now because, frankly, I think people are terrified, and you don't know where the next attack is going to come. And the videos that I have seen coming out of Tehran are mostly people. I mean, Trump himself said, hey, everybody leave, to the 10 million people who live in that city, get out of it. So I've seen the roads packed. I think a lot of people who do have the ability to leave have left, and the targeted attacks have continued on high-level, high-ranking military and government officials from Iran, whereas Iran's response has been somewhat haphazard, where they're just trying to land as many missiles to do damage to Iran, to the Israeli people as possible. Arab Spring, let's see, began in, okay, so that was longer ago. 2009 was the Green Uprising in Iran, but I feel like since then there have been other protests more outspoken. I know that they killed, there was a very much, I remember reading and paying attention to it, the women of Iran fought back against a requirement that they always wear the hijab, if I remember correctly, and the mullahs beat down on that quite severely and actually killed some young women who were deciding that they didn't want to wear the hijab. Also, there's been a tremendous crackdown on young girls dancing, just doing dancing videos by the mullahs there in terms of coming after them aggressively. There were, in fact, more recent protests. The team is looking this up in 2019 and 2020. And so that has continued and may well continue going forward when there is more safety on the ground. But these are big decisions. Again, reports that Trump is in the Situation Room. Iranian listeners, born and raised there with family back in Iran, I would be curious to hear from you what you are hearing from your friends and family on the ground as we continue throughout the course of this program. But I want to tell you, speaking about the Middle East, I came back and was in the Middle East in December and saw for myself everything on the ground there and how dangerous it can be when at any moment in time there may be bomb shelters that you have to run into. There may be danger if you're a kid in school. That's why they have to build concrete roofs over all of these buildings, because you never know when in the middle of the day there's going to be a missile that suddenly lands. And Israel right now being barraged with incoming missiles as much as Iran can get to them. And right now, the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is on the ground preparing large-scale distributions of life-saving food, first aid, and emergency kits to Israel's most vulnerable people, the sick, the elderly, children and families in great need. Your help needed right now more than ever. The fellowship also making sure that hospitals, emergency rooms, and shelters are fully stocked with critical, life-saving medical supplies. That's why the IFCJ needs your most generous gifts today. Join me and make a gift. Call 888-488-IFCJ. That's 888-488-IFCJ. You can also go online at ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org.